Welcome to the Keyhole tutorial on developing single-page applications using the ExtJS framework. In this first video, we'll go over what is a single-page application, what its architecture looks like, and how a single-page application can be implemented using the ExtJS framework. When talking about single-page applications, we should have a really well-defined idea of what exactly this term means. When you think of a single-page application, the first thing that comes to mind should be something like Gmail. It's the quintessential single-page application. It's a login, load a page, and then every other view that you can get from really comes from that one single main page. In traditional web applications, what would happen is you would load one page, click on a link, go to another page, have to download the same files, the same images, the same header and footer, but it's just the body would be different. Single-page applications are a slightly different take on that traditional web application, where the header and footer are static, but the body changes, and we don't have to go back to the server to pull in our new bodies. It's allowing single-page applications to run much faster than their traditional web application counterparts. They're implemented on the client side by JavaScript and HTML5. This is what allows us to dynamically change the body without having to go back to the server and pull the header and footer. On the back end, you can really implement single-page applications any way you want. In this tutorial, our single-page application backend is going to be a primarily Java-based application, where we pull from endpoints, talk to databases. Really anything you want can go on that backend. And the single-page application architecture, as you'll notice in this diagram, can be separated off into really two distinct parts, the client side and then the server side. Single-page applications, like I said, allow for much more flexibility than their traditional web application counterparts. They can be very responsive to where you don't have to really load as much as you had to before. You can manipulate really small parts of the page without having to go back and pull the entire page. Plugins are really going the way of the dodo bird in web application. Everything is really trying to take place on the browser, and single-page applications leverage that by using really JavaScript as their heart. They consume a lot less bandwidth, and on mobile devices particularly, batteries last longer if you have a single-page application versus a traditional web app, because the single page loads less battery has to be consumed to display the page. Single-page applications are really only available because we have JavaScript in the browser. It allows us to write code that dynamically changes the page without having to load everything again. There are several JavaScript frameworks that we can choose from that allow us to develop single-page applications. jQuery is one that gets a lot of traction, but really when you think about it as an abstract whole, a model view controller framework really is the best that we need. It allows us to separate our business logic from our views. It makes our code a lot more maintainable than if we were to try to use a non-model view controller type framework. This is where ExtJS really comes in. It does have that model view controller standard. It is a lot like Java. Coming from a traditional Java background, it's going to be a lot easier for developers to use ExtJS than some of the other JavaScript frameworks that they have available. It has inheritance, static, and instance scoping. Really good UI controls as well. It, like I said, emulates classic object-oriented constructs. It has very, very good views. The way that ExtJS works is that a developer can code the business logic, and then a designer can go in and actually fine-tune how it shows up on the screen. So you really do get a separation of responsibilities built into the framework itself. It has cross-browser support, so you don't have to worry about showing up differently in one browser versus another. And it has very good component layout support. In the next tutorial, we'll actually go through using ExtJS to create a very simple single-page application.